Okay, thank you. Welcome for our lesson today. We proceed with the human body, of which last time we covered teeth, types of teeth, sets of teeth, and also the function of teeth. So today I'm introducing human body standard 5, of which we will have to cover the two human body in standard 5, which is the breathing system and the digestive system. Now, you have to be very serious when you are talking about human body. All the topics that I highlighted here, after I will have covered, I will have to choose questions, KCP questions from the topic human body, that which starts from lower classes to standard 8. Now, straight away to breathing system. We have the breathing system here. The diagram is well drawn. We have the nose, we have the trachea, we have the bronchi, we have the bronchioles, we have the alveoli or the air sacs, and we have the two lungs, the rib cage and also the diaphragm. Okay, now when you talk about the breathing system, we have to remember the two respiratory gases, of which are oxygen and carbon dioxide. Those are the two respiratory gases of which we have to inhale and exhale. Now, let us start from the nose. The nose, which is the first part of the breathing system. Inside the nose, we have the three substances here, which are very important. Their function as they serve in the nose. You find that we have the mucus, we have the hair, and also dense capillaries. These are blood vessels which are very dense in the nostrils. So what are the function of the three? You find that mucus is used for trapping dust from the air you breathe in. So the mucus and the hair serves the same purpose, that is trapping of the dust particles in the air we breathe in. So you find that when you breathe in, the air that is supposed to enter the lungs must be clean. You find that we have dust particles that roam around in the atmosphere. So as you breathe, we have the mucus and the hair that will trap the dust which might be in the air. Okay, what is the function of dense network of capillaries? You find that the hair that is breathed in, sometimes it varies in temperature. So the dense capillaries warms the air we breathe in. So warming the air is done by dense capillaries. We have the hair and the mucus that trap the dust particles which is found in air we breathe in. Now, from the nose, we move to the trachea, or we can call it the windpipe. The trachea, which is also known as windpipe, is the second part here from the nostrils. Now, a question that comes from this part is, why is the trachea having ring-like cartilages? When you see it is drawn like that, those ring-like cartilages, what are the function of the ring-like cartilages? We have narrated it here that the trachea has ring-like cartilages that prevent it from collapsing. When we say collapsing, it means that the trachea or the windpipe will have to remain open all throughout, so it cannot close because of the ring-like cartilages that are found on the trachea or the windpipe. Now, from the trachea, we have the two branches that are moving into each lung. We have the right lung and the left lung. In human body, when you are drawing human body, that is the breathing system, digestive system, and also circulatory system, you find that the your left hand, that is the right part, and your right hand, that makes the left part. In the respiratory system, we have the circulatory system also. So you find that this one is the right and that one is the left part. So from the trachea, we have the bronchi. The bronchi, that is one which is moving to the left lung, and another bronchi which is moving to the right lung. So the bronchi are the first branch immediately from the windpipe. So you find that as you proceed inside the lung, the bronchi will have to be subdivided into smaller tubes inside the lung that are known as bronchioles. Bronchioles is having LE. So that is the difference. Bronchi is not having letter L. So bronchioles, at the end of each bronchioles, you find that we have very many alveoli, millions and millions of alveoli, which are also known as air sacs. So what are the function of alveoli or the air sacs? You find that this is the part where we have the interchange of respiratory gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide. So as you breathe in oxygen, you find that it enters into the body system through the alveoli. As you breathe out, carbon dioxide from the alveoli moves to the bronchioles, bronchi, trachea, and goes out like that. So if you are asked interchange of the respiratory gases, exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen takes place in the alveoli or air sacs, which are found at the end of bronchioles. So we say that in each lung we have millions of alveoli, and also here million of alveoli. There are very many. So that is what I have written here. Exchange of respiratory gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide, takes place in the alveoli or the air sacs. Now we have breathing in and out. Breathing in is known as inhalation. Inhalation. Breathing in is known as inhalation, and breathing out is called exhalation. 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 That is breathing out. So breathing in, inhalation. When you breathe in, you find that there are some changes that takes place on the breathing system, on the rib cage and also the diaphragm. Now, if you are asked what happens when you breathe in, you find that when you breathe in, that is inhalation, one, the volume of the lungs increase because you have breathed in a lot of air. So you find that that air that enters the lungs needs more space, so the volume of the lungs increase. Number two, you find that when you breathe in, the ribs or the rib cage moves upwards and outwards. So the lungs, the volume of the lungs increase, now creating more space. So the ribs have to move out because the lungs have increased in volume. So the rib cage will have to move out to create that space. And also you find that as they move out, they also move upward. So the ribs move upward and outward. That is, it can be practical. As you breathe in, you find that your ribs, the chest tends to move upward. As you breathe in, that is inhalation. So the rib cage will move upwards and outward. We also have the diaphragm. Now, what is the movement of, how is the movement of the diaphragm as you breathe in? You find that normally the shape of the diaphragm is dome. We call it dome shape. The diaphragm is always dome or is curved upward. When we talk of dome shaped, means something which looks like the rainbow, like that. So this diaphragm, which is dome shaped like that, as you breathe in, the space that is created there forces the diaphragm to move downward, or we can say it flattens. It is moving downward, or we can say it flattens because of the space that is created in the lungs. And then lastly, we have the pressure. Pressure works vice versa with the volume. As the volume of the lung increase, the pressure decrease. As the volume of the lung decrease, the pressure increase inside the lung. So during exhalation, the pressure in the lungs decrease as the volume increase. Now, when you talk of the exhalation, inhalation, I've been talking about inhalation, that is breathing in. So exhalation is opposite. When we talk of you breathe in, the volume increase. When you breathe out, the volume of the lungs decrease. When you breathe out, the ribs move upward. When you breathe in, the ribs move upward and outward. It is now opposite when you breathe out. When you breathe out, the ribs will move downwards and inwards. That is, as you breathe in, the ribs move upward and outward. But when you breathe out, you find that it is opposite. You breathe out, the rib cage will move downward and inward. That is. Now, when you breathe out, what will happen to the diaphragm? You find that the diaphragm will move upward and becomes makes the curve shape, that is dome. It becomes dome shaped, or we can say it moves upward as you breathe out. And then lastly, the pressure. When you breathe out, the pressure in the lungs increase. That is breathing in and out. So we have talked about the breathing system, and I said we will have to cover the two which is found in standard 5, the breathing system. There are very many questions when you go to KCP revision papers. The booster, you will find very many questions from the breathing system and also the digestive system. So allow me to move to the second part, which is the digestive system. Okay, the digestive system. I've said the digestive system is as simple as we have drawn it here, like this. You find that parts of the digestive system starts from the mouth, the gullet, the stomach, the duodenum, the ileum, the colon, the rectum, and the anus. Those are the parts of digestive system. Now, what is the other name of digestive system? Digestive system is also known as alimentary canal. What is the other name of the digestive system? I find that digestive system is also known as alimentary canal, or is also known as the gut. Now, this is the open tube from the mouth as it goes up to the anus. You find that when you eat food from the mouth, it moves in an open tube to the stomach, to the intestines, and to outside to the through the anus. Now, that is the digestive system. Now let us explain how digestion takes place in the digestive system. You find that inside the mouth we have the teeth, the tongue, and also we have the saliva. Inside the mouth we have the teeth, we have the tongue, and also the saliva. Now these are the first step. From there you find that the teeth are used for crushing food into small particles known as boluses. The teeth are used to crush food from being large into small particles known as bolus. As you chew the food, you find that the tongue is the one that rolls that food during chewing process, making those small particles known as boluses, and the saliva is used to moisten that food. It cannot be dry because there is saliva in the mouth. Now from the mouth, the food is swallowed down into the stomach through the gullet or the food pipe. The gullet or the food pipe, you find that the food is rolls down through the gullet. Now what happens in the gullet? You find that we have the wave-like. Inside the gullet you find that the food move in a wave-like manner. This is our bolus as you are swallowing. So it moves as it opens. The gullet opens. The food continues as it reaches there. Find that gullet opens. Now, what is this process? This process we call it peristalsis. Peristalsis. That process, that is why we say when you are swallowing food and you tend maybe to stand with your head and the legs are raised up, you find that that food cannot come back to the mouth because of this process that is known as peristalsis. But I don't advise you to start performing that practical because it is dangerous. The food can come back or it can go through the breathing system and you finish yourself. So I say that peristalsis are that process through the gullet or the food pipe. Now, from the gullet you find that the food reaches to the stomach. Now, inside the stomach, the food stays there for 4 hours. As some processes are taking place, we will have to define those processes that takes place in the stomach. Now, inside the stomach, the food mixes with some juices there, and that mixture of enzymes and juices which are found in the stomach is known as the chyme. So the food is swallowed. As it stays in the stomach for 4 hours, we have the mixture of the enzymes, the juice, and that food is known as the chyme. Now, after 4 hours, you find that the food proceeds into this open tube, into the small intestine. The small intestine is also known as the ileum. The ileum is also subdivided in 2 parts. We have the upper part immediately from the stomach. We have the upper part of the small intestine known as the duodenum. From there, the lower part of the small intestine is known as the ileum. Now, the food proceeds. We have the digested material. We have the food which is absorbed. So, from the small intestine, you find that the nutrients are now absorbed in the ileum from the system in the blood system. From this digestive in the blood system to be functional in the body. That is, absorption of food takes place in the small intestine. Now, those are food nutrients. Some parts of the food is not nutritive. That is what we call the undigested food material. Proceeds into the large intestine, which is also known as the colon. So from the small intestine, the food continues to move into the large intestine, which is known as the colon. It proceeds up to that point. That is known as the rectum. The rectum is used to store undigested food material for some times as it waits to be released out through the anus. Okay, now that is the digestive system. We have the 2 parts which are not part of the digestive system, but they also assist in digestion process. That is the pancreas and the liver. So these are not part of the digestive system, but are all very useful during digestion. I will have to discuss their functions. Now, let me talk about digestion. As you start eating food, you find that we have different types of food. We have the starch, we have the proteins, and we have the fats and oils. Let me discuss about this. The starch is also known as carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are digested in the mouth. As you start eating, you find that carbohydrates or starch are digested in the mouth. Now, what carries that digestion? In the mouth, we have the saliva, which are produced in the salivary amylase there. So the saliva is the one that carries out digestion of starch or the carbohydrates in the mouth. As the food proceeds, you find that the proteins are digested in the stomach. Now, what carries that? In the stomach, we have the gastric juice and hydrochloric acid. inside the stomach we have the gastric juice and the hydrochloric acid. The gastric juice digests protein inside the stomach. Digestion of proteins does not take place in the mouth. It proceeds and it is only digested in the stomach because of the gastric juice. Now, what is the function of carbohydrate? What is the function of the hydrochloric acid inside the stomach? You find that we have hydrochloric acid inside the stomach that kills the poison. Sometimes you might have minor poisons in the food, so are destroyed by the hydrochloric acid which is found in the stomach. Now, after 2 hours, we have the mixture of gastric juice, hydrochloric acid, and the food which forms the chyme, as I said earlier. So the chyme proceeds into the small intestine. So the upper part of the small intestine, we have the duodenum. Now, the duodenum, inside the duodenum, upper part of the small intestine, we will have digestion of fats and oils. Upper part of the small intestine, we will have now digestion of fats and oils. Now, what is carrying out this? Inside the duodenum, I said we have the pancreas and the liver. Now, this is where now it assists in digestion process. You find that the pancreas is producing pancreatic juice. The liver is producing the bile. Pancreatic juice, and also the bile. So the pancreatic juice is produced by the pancreas, and the bile juice is produced by the liver. So production of bile juice is from the liver and the gallbladder here. Gallbladder inside the liver is used to store. As the bile is produced from the liver, it is stored there before it is functional, before it is sent down here in the duodenum to serve the purpose of fats and oil digestion. It is stored in the gallbladder. So what is the function of the gallbladder? The function of the gallbladder is to store bile juice produced in the liver. Now from there you find that the bile juice and pancreatic juice is sent down in the duodenum to digest fats and oils. Now from there the digestion process ends in the duodenum. As you proceed down in the lower part of the small intestine, we have finger-like projections in the small intestine. Inside the small intestine we have finger-like projections which are known as villi. Inside the small intestine, lower part of the small intestine, we have finger-like projections on the walls of the small intestine known as villi. Now, what is the function of the villi in the small intestine? You find that the villi are the one that absorb food nutrients that have been digested. So absorption process takes place in the small intestine. What is absorption? Now the food nutrient we eat is supposed to serve purposes in our body. So from the small intestine you find those nutrients enter the body, the blood system, through the villi. We also have the non-digested, undigested food material. So undigested food material is not absorbed in the small intestine. It proceeds, and that one should be released out. So undigested food material proceeds into the colon or the large intestine. You find that it moves, and it is stored there. We have temporary storage. As non-digested food material reaches there, you find that it is ready to be released out through the anus. Now, from there, inside the colon, we have absorption of food nutrients is taking place in the small intestine. But absorption of water and minerals. Absorption of water and minerals take place in the large intestine or the colon. The large intestines have the purpose of absorption of water and mineral salt. Now, undigested food material is released outside through the anus, that is the digestive system, as well as we can call it alimentary canal or the gut. Now from there I end our lesson. You will have to revise. It is in the course book standard 5. As we wait for the question from KCPE, I will have to give you the question. Thank you very much. That is the end of our lesson today.